Her Asmongold hit bees backfired horribly. Virus said this. Let's see what she has done.
Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. So today we're going to be talking about a video that's making the rounds on social media for all the wrong reasons. It comes from a channel titled Catastrophic Claire Rar. Yes, very Rar XD, Quirk Chungus, Hot Topic, etc, etc. But the video people are talking about is her latest one titled Japan Wants to Censor Anime Asmongold Reaction. Now in this video, not only does she call out Asmongold, but she also calls out the entire anime and manga industry, as well as Japanese society, which according to her is...
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, this thing is, the entire thing is based on the UN wanting to censor anime, because it is apparently harming women. I don't know how the depiction of fictional characters harms women, but I guess we're gonna see mental gymnastics being made here.
So predatory and dangerous, pretty much no woman is safe in Japan. Now let's start with the thumbnail itself. It is pretty heinous. It is implying very heavily that Asmongold is trying to protect...
Yeah, that is not true. If the reason why it is going to why people think that, you know, things like rape or molestation, whatever you want to call it, right, happens in Japan so often is because it doesn't happen often, but because it's so rare, it gets very much blown. I wouldn't say out of proportion, but kind of, because it is so rare. I think it's like 1 point something per like 100,000 people. And compared to some others where it's some Western countries where it's like 23 point something. I don't know.
Predators. Now, what justifies in her mind this slander? Well, it comes from a clip from a recent Asmongold video where he's talking about...
Also, if somebody wanted to make me appear like a child diddler on a thumbnail, you would get sued the heck out of you. Like immediately. I would sue you.
Censorship of anime and manga.
It's about going in favor of free expression and free speech without having a unelected cabal of companies acting as a cartel that are behaving as censors for that speech and expression.
Like, it's just so sad that people are saying this and it's just going unchecked, and I just wanted to say my piece on it.
So basically, what Asmongold is saying is that groups like the United Nations or payment processors like Visa or MasterCard should have no say in the production of anime and manga in Japan. And hot take, he's correct. These organizations have really no sense being involved with these things. It's way beyond their reach. They shouldn't be controlling what's going on in the anime and manga industries. And anyone who disagrees with that has to basically bootlick the United Nations, which we'll talk about them later in the video. They are a terrible organization that has been going after Japan for decades now, trying to demonize and categorize a lot.
What is it with Western companies or organizations going after Japan recently? This is not an isolated instances. This is happening. Has been happening over like the last 3 years. Well, that's when I paid more attention, but still, what are you doing?
A lot of fictional content as illegal as she will do in her own video. So let's let her continue on. This is actually from one of the clips she posted herself on a Twitter, but let's give it a listen.
But in 2024, it's still legal to own anime and manga child pornography. And let me tell you, it is a booming industry.
So as always, I think there's something very disturbing about likening real-life victimization to manga panels, but As always, if you don't like certain aspects of anime or manga or just fictional content generally, that's okay. That's your prerogative. You're allowed to not like things, but it doesn't justify you demonizing and attacking an entire nation of people as well as the related mediums. And on top of that, if you're going to create this standard for other people where in the video she says if a character's under 18 and sexualized, that's CP. Well, that standard's not going to just be applied to the people you're attacking. It's also going to be applied to yourself. And if you look through her Twitter account, I mean, you have characters like this from Sailor Moon. This character's 16 years old. She made AI-generated art.
Caught in 4K. Caught in 4K? That is insane.
With obviously some sexual aspects to it, with the hashtag booba, and she would do that again, same character with hashtag thick thighs, posting.
Imagine being caught in 4K saying you shouldn't sexualize underage characters. What does she do? Sexualize underage characters. We'll have to see it.
This that she created with AI as well. That would make her a hypocrite under her own standards. On top of that, she's a big Evangelion fan. I mean, if you've watched the anime, you know there's a lot of fan service featuring underage characters. So clearly she either didn't watch this or she's just a massive hypocrite. And of course, you know, because I always check this.
Real one. Whoever put this in, absolute real one. The voice is Hugh Jackman, by the way. And he plays the Easter Bunny. Oh, he's so great. I love his voice in this movie. I love his character in this movie. He's such like a hard ass rabbit. And you don't see it a lot, so yes, definitely smash.
Ding ding ding, she's a furry too.
Imagine being caught in 4K like that. That is crazy.
Yeah, pretty much anytime you see someone talking about anime and manga and trying to demonize it, they almost always consume the exact same content themselves, and on top of that, they're a furry. It pretty much happens every single time. But let's continue on with her clip here.
You can literally go nearly to any massive manga stores and areas in the major cities in Japan, and you will find areas of that manga store that is specifically for Lolita characters.
So this is a very simple point, but it's definitely always worth making. If she considers this stuff in the background to be CP, by her own standard, she downloaded it, probably uncensored, and then posted it for thousands of people to see online. By her own
definition, she just posted CP. It's interesting to see how hypocritical these people are. Not all furries are bad. I know. I've met a couple of furries that are really good people, so yeah. It's unfortunately the stereotype that furries are weird. It's unfortunately a stereotype. That's something you have to fight with, to ring with.
Standard. She just downloaded and then redistributed CP. Like, are you crazy in your mind or something? Like, why would you ever think this is okay while you're demonizing it at the same time? It's just, it just shows how stupid all these arguments are and how hypocritical all these people are.
Characters. And Lolita, if you don't know what that means, it means young girl. And
it literally just means like cute fashion, by the way.
This is the problem that the UN wants them to address. Honestly, I don't care if the character is over 18. If the character is over 18, I'm just going to be like, cool, yeah, whatever you're into, man. If you want to look at that, that's cool. But not children. That is so up.
So she's trying to basically mask what the UN is doing. She's saying this is all about protecting kids.
That is not what it is. It was censorship for all of anime because it is harming women. They didn't say harming children, harming women.
And it's only targeting the specific types of characters she's talking about, but that's a gross misrepresentation of what they're trying to do at the UN. So here's what they're actually doing. They've been targeting Japan for many, many years, and they can't really explain why they're singling out Japan in the first place. But anyways, this is what they're talking about with some of these pushes that the United Nations are doing. The final observation expressed concern that pornography, video games, manga, and other animated products may promote gender and sexual orientation-based violence against women and girls, and recommended that existing legal measures and monitoring programs be effectively implemented to address the production and distribution of pornography, video games, and animated products that promote discriminatory gender stereotypes and reinforce sexual violence against women and girls. So it's not just these specific young characters she's talking about. It's anything that promotes discriminatory gender stereotypes, whatever the hell that means. And without any sort of research or basis to make these claims, they...
I mean, I agree with the UN of getting rid of the corn. I agree. But nothing else.
say that these things in fictional content are somehow leading to real-life abuse. These people are basically just a repackaging of 90s soccer moms who used to say violent video games make violent people, right? It's the same argument. It's just so woke, it's backwards. And now we're having people trying to justify these connections between anime, manga, and what...
Yeah, that the age-old debate of, for example, video games creating shooters, which is like violent video games, which is just not true. There have been studies on this, extensive studies of it on this. There's no connection. It just came up recently again, so I guess here it's the same.
What have you, to predatory behavior, and the only thing they're working on is their own emotions. They have no actual proof of anything. And looking at the standard about promoting discriminatory gender stereotypes, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the kind of stuff they're talking about. This is one of her own posts from very recently. I mean, look at not only the character that would probably fall under these United Nations standards here, but also the hashtags. I just got to put out hashtag Gooner. Hashtag...
What the fuck? Hashtag... Okay, I'm not gonna say it, but what the heck? You're a massive hypocrite. She's criticizing this stuff while being exactly like that. That is so dumb.
Goon. Hashtag degen. Very interesting stuff. But let's talk about the UN for a second. So I can't imagine bootlicking the United Nations. It couldn't be me. They are pretty much what is the equivalent of an international criminal organization. What else do you describe them as? So even some of the top children's rights officials in the United Nations have been jailed for charges relating to the abuse of children. In fact, there are
many such cases. Many such cases. It's not rare that the people calling others, you know, child lovers, are child lovers themselves, or have that kind of material.
Endless articles you can find that are just so beyond disturbing. Report finds UN employs 3,300 predators responsible for 60,000 R-words in the last 10 years. Here's another one saying UN peacekeepers ran a child S-ring in Haiti, and it goes...
What the heck? So if I play games with dragons, a dragon will appear in real life. Honestly, I wouldn't mind. I'm gonna play dating sims, and maybe a wife will appear. IRL. I think I got it. I think I found the key.
Goes on and on and on. Like, they are genuinely a very dangerous organization, and you have to rely on their word and what they're trying to do to justify banning anime and manga. Like, these people are not to be trusted whatsoever. But she continues on here.
And that's what the UN wants them to address, because it's actually scary being a woman in Japan. They literally have specific train carriages that women can take to not share carriages with men during busy travel times so that they don't get sexually abused or touched inappropriately or have pictures of their upskirts taken just trying to get home from work. Or
So this pretty much is where it always ends up, right? So it begins with, I don't like this anime and manga, blah, 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 blah. And then it turns into just, well, I mean, what else do you call it? Racism. They're basically trying to imply that the entire nation of Japan is so predatory that no woman is safe in that country. And it's an absolutely outrageous thing to say. Yes, there are sex crimes in Japan, just like there are throughout the entire world, but it doesn't make Japan unique in any sort of a way. And the only justification this person has is because they produce anime and manga, which that somehow makes them special.
Couldn't you just say the same about degenerate stuff here in the West, too? Wouldn't that mean that she should also go after, like, websites like The Hub and all the other, like OnlyFans and Fansly and shit? Wouldn't that promote the exact same thing? I'm just questioning.
Special. I mean, of course, reported sex crimes are sometimes a misleading number because people just don't report that they're victimized. But this person's from Ireland, trying to be a white.
22 per 100,000 people. I do believe Japan is not the best place for women, and they do have actual gender inequality. However, I don't understand why she talked about that in this context. I think she's just confused, is what I believe. Or just pushing her agenda. I don't know what this is specifically, to be fair. I don't know what she's even trying to achieve. Except spreading misinformation. Also, she lives in a country, 22 hours per 100,000 people. Japan, we have 1.3. Sorry, bro, but you're not the one to talk.
Savior in wagging their finger at Japan. Look at the rates at Ireland versus Japan. Again, reports aren't the most reliable thing, but I think maybe, just maybe, you should sit this conversation out. But let's wrap this up here. One more quote I want you guys to listen to.
And I think if you're a real person with a real conscience and your heart goes out to the women of Japan who have to put up with these men, then you should be on the side of UN for them to be more censored and not allow for this to happen.
No words, ladies and gentlemen. You have to take the side of the UN here and ban this anime and manga. Otherwise, you just don't care about women. I guess that's the route we're going with this.
I don't care about women in this case. I guess. I can live with that.
This one. This is insane. Also, I think her mind would explode if she found out that a very large portion of hentai artists are women. So, like, what are we... it's all just men?
Yeah, the moment I found that out, I think I left the world. I think I just went up to a higher plane of existence the moment I found out that there's a lot more women than I originally anticipated.
Went from I don't like anime and manga to there's a big predatory problem in Japan, and also Japanese men are somehow uniquely dangerous. I mean, that's how far it went. All you had to do was say, I don't like these things in certain anime and manga, I'm just going to avoid them. But no, it goes to this level, and it always does for some reason. But that's going to do it for this video. I thought this was pretty insane, so I wanted to talk about this with you guys.
Pretty much this was nothing. This was literally nothing. She pretty much just went after things that the UN specifically isn't targeting, because the UN is targeting everything. All media in Japan, so yeah, we spreading misinformation as usual.